right, good evening, everybody. Once again, we're back. This is the Community Solidarity Response Network of Toledo. I'm Brother Washington Muhammad, he, him, and I'm one of the co-founders along with Mike Leonardi and Jabril Bey. They are the ones that came up with this idea that we can advocate for truth and justice, freedom and equality. And we don't necessarily have to be preachers. Am I right?
Right.
We don't necessarily have to be politicians or professionals. All of us have a particular gift that we lend to the struggle. We show up, plan, get it done. We don't have to ask permission to do good.
No, we're just human.
Right, just go out and do it. Okay, that human part. All right, yeah, all right, and man, and it's awesome being a part of this movement. Is decentralized, and we are self-supporting along with those that have assisted us since 2014.
Yeah,
all right,
7 years.
So 7 years. We celebrated 7 years in November, and we went. I think we spent a couple of weeks going over some of the events that we planned that really made an impact on us. And before I get to my other stuff, this year we didn't have our Justice or Else Black Friday. Be it the will of the universe, we'll be back next year.
Yeah.
All right.
For the first time in 7 years, I actually worked on that day and did Black Friday stuff as my organization, which, again, I think after being outside the mall and after 2020, we found enough entrepreneurs and business owners. I think there was a report that Ohio is the largest small business bubble.
I saw that post.
Right now.
Mr. Hear Me, Montrese Casey. So
yeah.
Shout out to Montrese. I want my $20 for saying this. All right. I want my $20 for saying this. So a lot's happening.
Like Kool-Aid Man. There's a green room.
Right. So and as always, for today, for anyone that's challenged with sight, today I have on my thick rim glasses. I've got black hat on. I've got my Islamic inspired scarf. So I'm ready for whatever today. All right. You know what it is. And as always, I'm dedicated to respecting and protecting all Black bodies, no matter the cost, no matter the gains or loss. And this is the home of Black Lives Matter, the home of Justice or Else. We do get it in. We are working our way back to having some in-person meetings, Jody.
Yeah.
And we may have those, depending on what Jody rubber stamps, cosigns. We may have a once a month meeting to just go over some of the things that we've done in a month and start inviting some fresh minds. All right. Not that we ain't getting it done, but hey, look, we need to just make sure
burnout is real.
We need to increase the leadership. So that's me, Jody. Could you introduce yourself? And we got a great show today. We're going to be talking about dunking for donations.
Yeah.
All right.
And I see in our green room, don't be drinking his burners.
All right. Right. You ain't paying for that. Right. So, Jody, if you could introduce yourself, what do you have on, as if you can have enough crystals? All right. I don't know. I ain't hating on you, but there's more than I got. So who are you? What do you have on?
So what's up, everybody? Jody J. Summers, child of the system, better known as Spoken Truth. I'm the treasurer of this wonderful organization. And for those of you that may be listening or listening later, I am a cinnamon tone, brown skin, big hair of a man that's covered in tattoos and crystals and wristbands, and the clothing that I wear is representative of my city. So I do not go out and buy, corporations or sweatshop places, even though it's nice, but I would rather incorporate myself with my city, like the hat from Filthy Feathers. The shirt is from this year's Zombie Crawl, which after 4 or 5 years of volunteering, I'm board member now. Just to show the progression that nothing on the outside of me is a true representative of the inside, but sometimes jingle the people or raise the staff and they ask questions that stuff like that. So And my pronouns would be him, he, and we.
Why we?
We is how somehow I'm able to, I guess, coalesce my emotions between 13 different organizations, 26 pages, 894 groups, and the 12 books, 7 screenplays, 2 movies, all this stuff that I do, and the food bank that I run without judging people, without trying to put people down, put them in a box, or tell them that I'm better than them because I do all this stuff. I'm human. This is just the path that I've chosen that makes me the happiest, and I don't need something in return. So that
Hmm.
is the we.
Okay. Oh, okay. All right. I'm sorry I asked, but all right. I got what I deserve. Hey,
Well,
we've got the mission statement.
yep. So for people that are tuning in and all of the people that have started businesses or nonprofits or anything you want to see last beyond you, big thing, last beyond you. Doesn't matter whether I left this organization, Brother Washington, Ruth, Julian, we know that CSRN would still stand under these principles. And whether we liked all of the decisions or not, this is the foundation we built.
That's right.
So when you're doing that, as I'm doing some stuff with new nonprofits and everything, I remind them that have a mission statement, have a
Guiding principles.
because if you don't, you're just going to jump off into the next thing or the next thing or be depressed and want to give up when you saw $20,000 coming in this month and next month you don't even get 20 cents.
Mm.
That happens in life, but you have to keep on pushing on. So this is our keep on pushing on. The
All right.
we gonna be all right.
Oh, okay. All right.
We are the Community Solidarity Response Network of Toledo, formed on November 25th, 2014, the day after it was announced that the killer, a Ferguson, Missouri police officer, of Michael Brown, an unarmed teenager, would not be indicted. We bring awareness to the injustices experienced by Black men, women, and children who are disproportionately murdered, attacked, provoked, and harassed by law enforcement. Stress that again, law enforcement. Police brutality has to end. We bring awareness to the fact that most often police brutality goes without consequence or accountability. Police impunity has to end. We utilize the tactics of protest, civil disobedience, event disruption, and citizen advocacy to give voice to those who are otherwise voiceless. We facilitate progressive, community based events that help foster self development, and we discuss measures to hold local leadership accountable to their sworn duties, be they politician, clergy, law enforcement, educators, etc., etc. We want justice, equal justice under the law, equal justice applied to all, yes, all, regardless of class, creed, or color. For all lives to matter, Black lives must matter. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
All right. Thanks, Jody. Hey, we're going to read our guiding principles. We're going to take a short break. I think we got Tracy in the studio right now in the green room.
I see
So
him
we
over
got to
there.
listen. I want I want you to be patient. We got to do what we got to do what we got to do because Ruth be watching these. All right. I don't want her coming after my head. And I hate to have to throw Jody under the bus again. But right after we do uh, our guiding principles, we'll take a short break. We're coming back with Tracy Haynes, with Duncan for donations and some other stuff that Tracy got going on.
Yeah, I hear he's a musician. He's got some clothing stuff and everything
All
like
right, so
that.
whatever it is, we're going to pump it up. All right, all right. So these are our guiding principles, as Jody talked about. If you have a grassroots or ad hoc group, that means that you just coming together. It's good to have a vision statement or a mission statement. That's something that everybody can rally around, and also having some guiding principles. Most grassroots organizations, some may not last long because of infighting, conflicts, and we do eat each other from within. All right, so our guiding principles helps keeps us on track and keeps us here.
Yeah.
These are our guiding principles. All Black lives matter. Queer Black lives, trans Black lives, formerly and presently incarcerated Black lives, poor working class Black lives, differently abled Black lives, Black men and women lives, immigrant Black lives, Black elderly and children lives. All Black lives matter and are the creators of this space. We throw no one under the bus. We rise together. Ashe?
Ashe.
And Ashe means one who changes a thing, one who makes a thing happen. Thriving instead of surviving. Our vision is based on the world we want, not the one we're currently in. We seek to transform, not simply react. We want our people to thrive, not just exist. Think beyond the possible. Ashe?
Ashe.
Experimentation and innovation must be built into our work. Embrace the best tools, practices, and tactics, and leave those behind that no longer serve us. Ashe?
Ashe.
Evaluation and assessment must be built into our culture. Critical reflection must be a part of all of our work. We learn from our mistakes and our victories. Ashe?
Ashe.
Principled struggle can exist in a positive environment. We must be honest with one another by embracing direct, loving communication. Ashe?
Ashe.
Love, self-love, is practiced in every element of all we do. Love and self-love must be a driver of our work and an indicator of our success. Without this principle and without healing, we will harm each other and undermine our movement. Ashe?
Ashe.
360-degree vision. We honor past struggles and wisdom from elders. The work we do today builds the foundations of movements of tomorrow. We consider our mark on future generations. Ashe?
Ashe.
Self-care means we build resilient spaces by budgeting time, energy, and resources for healing. Self-care is a regular, consistent, intentional, and essential practice. Ashe?
Ashe.
The most directly affected people are experts at their own lives and should be in leadership at the center of our movement and telling their stories directly. Ashe?
Ashe.
Training and leadership development should be fundamental. Our movement must constantly grow and leadership must constantly multiply. Ashe.
Ashe.
And everything in there is what we're doing. That's what's kept us here for the last 7 years. But Jody, listen.
Grounds us when we decide to fly off on other ventures.
Right. But you know what? I'm ready to hear from Duncan from Donuts. Did I say Duncan from Donuts?
Yes, you did.
Does anybody ever say? I think everybody. Hold on. I'm looking at the cue card. They said Duncan for it's Duncan for donations. Hey Sherry, can you change that graphic?
I told you to stop paying them sugar cubes.
Man, good work is hard to find when you ain't paying people. All right, man. I know Tracy know all about that. All right. So hey, look, stay tuned. We'll be right back with Tracy and Duncan for donations. Hang tight. This is the CSRN Video Minutes, our weekly podcast.
Hey, I'm Dr. P. Not only am I a leadership coach, I'm a change agent and I'm a race scholar. I've used my study of race to dismantle systems and organizations, but I also use that to help you as the individual become a better leader for your families and for your community.
Hey, we are back. This is the Community Solidarity Response Network. We're going to have Tracy Haynes from Duncan for donations. All right. It's a yearly event that these brothers and sisters put together, and it's focused on having some basketball tournaments that people can come, feel safe, enjoy, and at the same time, you can give a donation.
Yes.
And let's see if Sherry's going to do right. Sherry, if you could put that on the screen. All right, Duncan for donations. This is happening on the 19th.
Yep, this Sunday.
This Sunday, Scott High School. What's that time on there?
That is from 6 to 9 p.m.
Man, look, you can also view it virtual. I think you might on the 419 Grind.
Yep.
Is streaming it. Man, I'm mentioning everybody. All right.
Yep.
I'm mentioning everybody. The 419 is streaming it. Duncan for donations. It is their 12th year. man, some of my relationships don't last 12 years. Don't tell my wife. But anyway, we've got Tracy here. Let's bring him on in. All right, Tracy. Tracy, how's it going, bro?
I'm good. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah,
Loud and clear. Loud.
Good.
other people and stuff.
I know. Absolutely. Absolutely. First, thank you for being on our podcast today. We're really excited to talk about Duncan for donations. And Jody, I always like to hear the origin story. Every year, everyone hears about Duncan for donations, but how did it come about? Where did the name come from? And how you guys still together?
Oh man, it was pretty much a group effort on everything. We had a concept. You know, we back in the day we had a music group called Hustle Hand Entertainment, and I had a concept for a charity basketball game. I brought it to Dave. Dave said put it together, whatever I need from he was 300% behind. And so you know, a couple of us came together at Hustle Hand. We went to Little D House, and we established the name Duncan for Donations. Partnered up with Shawanda at the Black Student Union, and the very first one she got us at Owens for the first two, and that was the start. I mean, you know, back in 2009, that's when it started. It was a lot going on. It was news stations saying a lot of they would run out of funds to give kids Christmas. We just wanted to do something, and I thought it'd be dope for all the artists to come together and use our influence to raise some money to help out.
So here we are 12 years later. You know, oftentimes when we talk about CSRN, I would love to write a pamphlet, a manual on how to get it popping and how to sustain it. You know, I think that having that concept of Duncan for donations, learning how to pick the people that's going to work with you, it would be awesome to have that on paper. So anybody else, if they wanted to have something else, they know that, hey, it's always already a manual for this, so that you don't have to start something and it not work. So for this year, what's being planned for this year?
Oh, this year, we're going to be at Sky High School this Sunday, the 19th. Same thing. Kids game, charity game. We got performers, trying to get Santa Claus to come through. She's going to do a real big in a positive way in the community. You know, as a city, we've reached our max. We broke the record for murders. So we're just trying to show the youth something positive, that we can come together and do something positive. Maybe this is something that'll spark people into making a change.
Right. And you know, most times, I know Jody hears this, I always hear that somebody's got to do something. But most times the people that are saying to somebody, they're not doing anything.
Right.
And I realize that. So I don't mind people saying that. I know that we get it in. I know that Duncan for Donations gets it in. So for anybody that's viewing this podcast and you've been wondering, what are we going to do? You see, we don't have to wait for the city of Toledo.
Right.
We don't have to wait for Pro Medica. We don't have to. Okay, I'm not going to say Pro Mafia. Not on our not on our podcast. We might be hitting them up for a donation. I'd have said Pro Mafia. All right, but the thing is, most times people are waiting for us, Tracy, to take the lead.
Right.
And Duncan for Donations has been sustainable. It has been here for more. It wasn't a one and done. And you and I both seen some one and done stuff go down in the city, you know, but they just didn't have that recipe that Duncan for Donations has, you know.
But you know what, though? I have to give a lot of the credit to Dave, because some years I didn't want to do it, and Dave was like, nope. You know what I'm saying? So, like, he's been, like, super important to this this movement. So I really want to give some kudos to Dave. Like, he's always a driving force. He keeps me on the straight arrow. He's big in the community. And also give a shout out to the community, because, like, this is really our thing. It's not mine's or Dave's. It's really our thing, because without people coming and donating and helping, it's really you subconsciously have they're subconsciously doing something positive for the community.
All right. Well,
all that little stuff matters. So
yes, sir. Well, I'm going to put Jody on the spot because he's been quiet. He functions as our treasurer,
right.
And we are giving a donation.
Yes, we are.
All right. So I don't know if the donation is $5,000 or $6,000. I don't know what's in the account. That's Jody. I just put him all out there. All right.
Yo, hold on. Hold on. Let me give a shout out to Jody, because every year Jody makes his way there, and whatever we need Jody to do, he always front and center. So thank you so much, Jody. I just want you to know that we truly appreciate you, bro.
And I'll be there with bells on.
And I come from here. You feel me?
Hey, like for me, like you said with Dave, it's my community. That's how I see it. I know it's our community, but I definitely have to do more than what I just said. So that's been my goal since we were at Owens, and you trying to give me your CD for free, and I told you no.
Oh, okay. I didn't know he had CDs.
Yeah, he's very talented, very inspiring young man. That's a lot of things most people don't see because we're not chasing after clout. We're not trying to make people like us or love us. We're just doing stuff because it needs to get done.
So how is it that, okay, I see that you're in the performing arts, and before we talked, we talked about Tracy being a musician, entertainer. How is it that both of you are in the helping stuff? How does that happen?
You don't want to be like everybody else. For me personally, I was never a fit-in person as a kid. And then once I found that, hey, I'm kind of gifted, even though I'm weird and don't like a lot of stuff, I found ways to utilize that. That has now put me in a huge spotlight. But I'm still, it's not going to stop me.
All right. And for Tracy, everything we're talking about today is Duncan for donations to get people out.
And he's going to get some shameless plugs in there too. He's got the albums or anything like that.
Right.
Clothing.
And all, listen, all of that is what makes Duncan for donations successful.
Right.
Everything about you. And I'm glad you shouted Dave out.
Right.
Because that's a special spirit.
Yeah.
And I'm older, but if I want to learn something, you better holler at Dave.
Right.
All right. And if it's dealing with our youth, you better holler at Dave. He has that thing that you can't describe. However, you can tell when somebody loves what they do.
Right.
And loves the city. So big shout to Dave for that. So, but for you, we're talking about Duncan for donations, but you're also an entertainer and an artist.
Right.
How did you come together with Duncan for donations?
Man, like I've just always been a humble dude that like giving, man. So after the first year, I found fulfillment personally in this event. Being a part of the community, seeing people smile, helping people out. I mean, it just brought a sense of fulfillment that I didn't want to let go. Like God been so good to me throughout the year. Like it's the least I can do is help his people because everybody ain't strong, man. Everybody can't do it. Everybody ain't got the influence. Everybody don't have the know-how to bring people together to raise money. Everybody can't fundraise, So if that's the least I can do.
And I've always felt that about any organization. It's good for us to get a good start, but we do need to raise funds in order for this to keep going.
Right.
We just can't go on good feelings.
Right.
How are we going to get the equipment? How are we going to secure the venue?
Right.
How are we going to keep it safe? We may have to hire off-duty TPD. We may have to hire off-duty sheriff. And you can't tell me, well, we don't need them, but as soon as something pop off, y'all be saying, Tracy, y'all should have had them.
Right.
Well, right. So it's like you got to look at the big picture. and we can't do it without fundraising.
Right.
And when it comes to fundraising, we're talking about us making some connections,
Right.
us calling people, go old school and just call them on the phone.
Right.
You know, we got this thing that we do whenever we do an event. This is all, and for people that are watching, it's all about dunking for donations and having a sustainable program. One of the things that we do, I've been blessed to be able to meet a lot of people. So if we're having a rally that we know we need, a stage, sound equipment,
Right.
whatever else, I get on the phone and I call people that I know they want to be on the front line.
Right.
They're not able to be on the front line, but they can give. All right. And you're going to have some people that do not want to be behind the camera, in front of the camera and behind the mic. But there are some people, Tracy, out there that are rooting for you,
right.
that don't mind giving.
Right.
But these people aren't going to give unless you ask them.
Right.
So I'm asking those people that are going to be watching this podcast, that are going to be streaming this podcast, to donate to Duncan for donations. And if they wanted to donate, and we're not talking about CSRN, even though I got the crawling blood. All right. Hey, all right. I already know what it is. But anyway, if they wanted to donate to Duncan for donations, is there a PayPal? Is there a Cash App?
Yeah, right now we got a Cash App going on. Is money sign, the letter D, the number 4, and the letter D, charity on Cash App. That's D4D charity. And that people can just donate. If they want to do something bigger and a sponsorship, they can just call me at 419-787-0532. That's 419-787-0532. Or email us at duncanfordonations@gmail.com. That's Duncan, the number 4. And Duncan is spelled DUNKIN, number 4, donations@gmail.com.
Yeah, we had some troubles with that, setting up our event flyer for the day. And I tried to tell them, no, it's no G. All right, even though there are G's that's putting this on.
Yeah, it's like Dunkin' Donuts.
There's no G in it. All right, you know, the G, we handle it. All right, the G's are handling it, but there's no G in Duncan.
And that was cash sign.
Hashtag D4 donation. Am I right?
D4D.
D4D. All capital?
That don't matter.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't use Cash App. I'm putting it in our chat.
Right. Look at Jody.
All right. Okay. All right.
Oh, another special shout out to Kenyatta Kaiser. She's been our on-song behind the scenes hero, making sure we get all the sponsorships and the donations in. She had a goal and she's almost there. So I just want to give a shout out to her because she's filling in a lot of blanks. And Berger and Gary, because they're handling the games this year. So me and Dave can handle all the logistics.
I just think it's beautiful when for an event like Duncan for donations that everybody gets a chance to do what they do.
Yeah.
They do what they do. And a big shout out to Rowan. She had put the D4D.
Yes, thank you, Rowan. Thank you so much.
All right. So I'm telling you, people feel what you're doing. A lot of us here at CSRN love what you're doing.
Thank you so much.
And
into the punch.
That's all right, but that's our members. All right. She got the assist. She saw Tracy, she saw that we were struggling with technology. And she like, bless your heart. All right. That's why Ruth needs to be here. That wouldn't happen if Ruth was here. But
shout out to Ruth.
Right. Another question. Jody also talked about you got some other projects going on. What other projects that you have going on? Because I'm telling you, when you mention these projects, then people are going to come to the Duncan for donations just to see Tracy. All right. So we're trying to fill it by hook or crook. We're trying to make it happen.
Oh man, just so I just do I don't know, I'm working on music right now. But I also do a event called Strictly R&B every month now. show, just stuff like that. None too spectacular.
Okay, well, okay. See, that's those humble people when they say nothing too spectacular.
So when's the next one?
It'll probably be in February. I need a month of self-healing.
I feel that.
So January is dedicated to me. I want to get back to working out and back on my reading and my manifestations and humbling myself. January is gonna be super humbling for me.
That's awesome. That's awesome. How has back to Dunkin' for Donations? How has COVID in 2020 affected the ability to fundraise, the ability to organize? How did that affect you and the team?
It was super hard, but it's super easy. We got to do the event, but it had to go virtual. So it just shout out to the 419 grind. We live streamed it, and we actually raised a lot of money in donations. Actually, we might have raised more doing it digital than we might have doing it in person. So that Cash App come in handy.
Yeah, everybody loves that.
So a lot of people couldn't make it out anyway, so they could just watch it online and donate.
Right. So once again, for anybody that's watching this, let's put hopefully they put Rowan's thing back. Okay, thank you, guys.
Thank you, Rowan.
At least somebody's doing something right here. All right. Somebody.
I also want to say shout out to Charlie. It's his birthday too today.
Charlie who? Today Charlie's birthday?
That's what it said on Facebook.
Oh my God, I've been so loop. I had to call it, dude. I gotta call you.
So we use the Facebook now as a source.
Charlie's gonna kill me. Shout out to Charlie. Charlie's been hosting and helping for all 12 years, ever since we started. Charlie's been awesome.
Wow.
Today Charlie's birthday. Oh my God, he's gonna. Oh, how did I forget that?
Okay, so doors on this Sunday. It's happening this Sunday.
Yep, open at 5.
Doors open at 5.
Mm-hmm.
We got to make sure that I think that we've shared it on our.
Yeah, we shared it. I'll be sharing it again through my pages because again, I'm going to be there as soon as I get off of work. I already let them know because we close at 6, but I'll be there by 6:30 regardless.
Okay, and for anybody that's in the chat, if you can, where can they find the Dunkin' for Donations flyer? Is it on?
You can go to my page, or you can just type in Dunkin' for Donations and find it.
All right. So for those that are watching the podcast now, and some that may stream it later, if you're watching this later, go to put Dunkin' for Donations in the search on Facebook, and you'll see the flyer come up. We need to share that flyer. We need to share, because this is our chance to do something for our community.
Please, or go to my page. I'm Tracy Haynes on Facebook, TracyHayes. And I'm about to post it right now. My page is public, so anybody can go in there and see it.
Okay, all right. So not only you can put Dunkin' for Donations in the search, go to Tracy Haynes' page. All right, that's the real deal. All right, so go ahead and get it like that. Hey, listen, I know I'm looking forward to being there.
Yep.
On Sunday.
Yes,
we're looking forward to also making a donation, and I think this is a thing that CSRN should do every year. You've probably been doing it every year anyway.
Yeah.
All right. I know I'm late, and I don't mind being late, but I wouldn't mind for all of those that are watching this, that this is something that CSRN supports. See, we don't have to reinvent the wheel. We don't have to come up with some type of Dunkin' for Donations event if it's already something in place.
Yep.
And I think that sometimes some of us that like to do this work, we lose sight of that.
Right.
We don't look out and see, okay, who's already doing the Dunkin' for Donations? Who's already has the track record and the trust of the community? If you find that Dave, Tracy, Charlie, and the rest are doing it, then let's come out and support them.
Right.
not just with our attendance, but with our dollars.
Yeah.
Or good.
If you don't have dollars, toys. Um, I can say growing up as a kid, didn't have much. There was one Christmas in particular that I remember. This guy who was doing our plumbing and stuff came by, and we did Christmas presents that year. And for some odd reason, I don't know what deal him, and my mom struck up, but he came back with toys, just simple toys that for children, you got to remember they're children. They deserve to play, they deserve to have fun. And even something there's a little dollar store toy can brighten up a kid's day.
Right.
So is there going to be a receptacle for anyone that brings toys?
Yeah, definitely. Even if they using gently used, yeah. Even you got something that your kids don't. I know y'all kids. I know y'all got a lot of people got a lot of toys that their kids just don't play with. That somebody else can appreciate.
Hmm.
Bring them,
Okay.
like gently used toys. Yeah, bring them.
So for Duncan for donations, is there a cost to get in?
It's $5. A $5 donation. Kids under 12 free.
All right. So $5 donation. You can bring some gently used or new toys if you want. My next question, because I love talking about these things. I love hearing the way people think and organize. Back in the day, Tracy, we actually had singing groups and bands.
Right.
And being a part of a band takes a lot of coordination because you've got a lot of peculiar personalities.
Right.
You're an artist. You're probably strange and weird too. I'm sitting next to one. All right, and creativity takes you there.
Yeah.
All right, creativity takes you there. Now, my question was, what are some of the challenges that you think that you've had to overcome making this real? Because just think, in 2007, we didn't have a Dunkin' for donations.
Right.
There was no such thing. Now it's here. What are some of the challenges that you've had to overcome and the team has had to overcome to make sure every year, without us even thinking, we always believe that it's going to be another Dunkin' for donations, even if we don't even put any work in it. So it's becoming an institution.
I'm sorry, my phone going crazy. Can you hear me?
Yep. So the question was,
Hello.
We can hear you. Can you hear us? Uh-oh. Can you hear us?
No, I don't think that he can. I think he's trying. We're working on it. Hey,
He'll be back.
Oh, he will?
He will be back.
Okay. Hey, listen, that's Tracy Haynes from Duncan for Donations. He's going to log back in. We got a few questions to ask him about what's going down on. All right. So hang tight. Before he comes in, hey, listen, I'm gonna bring Julie in because we're just gonna talk about some of the things that's going on in the community with wellness and how we can stay fit and mentally aware during this time.
We'll go to a commercial break and then we'll bring Julie in.
Oh, okay. All right. Can he hear us when we say that?
Yeah, he heard us.
All right,
he's in the green room stealing your chips.
Oh, okay. All right. Seems like that's a lot of that's going on today.
His snack budget is just killing my books.
So listen, before we go on break, what do you think about what Tracy was saying about what they've been doing? I think it's great.
I think it's beautiful. Like again, I do a ridiculous amount of stuff unconsciously. And the moment I found out about Dunkin' for donations was shortly after the meeting. So probably, I want to say maybe a year before CSRN, I started going and volunteering and helping and all that stuff. So it's just, for me, it's part of something I do. It's not something I got to say, well, look what I'm about to do. It's just, hey, I showed up. We're here. What needs to get done? Like with most things that I do, I started advertising more as I got into my career, because some people need that. Some people I learned being humble is great, but you also have to be able to show people that it can be done. So me being the guy with the thumb and the staff and always taking selfies was showing somebody else that may or may not like me that it can be done. So I want you to try. Whether or you think I'm the worst performer ever, you could be better.
All right. Hey, listen, we're gonna for Tracy and Julian, we're gonna take a pause, and we're gonna come right back. This is the CSRN Video Minutes. It's our weekly podcast. We'll be right back.
Did you know addiction is a disease, not a moral dilemma? The opioid epidemic and substance use have a major impact on communities of color and many people's lives. Wasion Wellness Recovery Support Center offers culturally relevant inpatient and outpatient behavioral health treatment and recovery support services to any Ohioan struggling with addiction, mental health, or finding sober safe housing. We must recognize that treatment is available and accessible to all. If you are in need of treatment or want to find out more information, you can call 1-888-728-2713 to talk to someone or schedule an appointment.
All right, you go. I'm sorry, Jody. You ain't. I'm not saying you ain't no good, but you almost had me right there.
Can you hear us, Tracy?
No, I think that we may have had some technical difficulties going on with Tracy. However, we are back. This is the Community Solidarity Response Network. We were talking to Tracy Haynes from Duncan for Donations. That's happening this Sunday. Doors open at 5, Scott High School. But right now, we're going to bring in Julian. I think we have some political stuff that's going on. We got some wellness stuff going on. Let's see if we can bring in, let's see if I can work this out. All right. Hey, so Julian.
I'm talking to the stick.
I know.
I thought it was a walking stick. I didn't know it was a talking stick.
To work some things out.
There we go.
All right, have a little patience with us. We're working it out. First, how you feeling?
I'm great. I'm blessed, highly favored, and just happy to be here, man.
Hey, listen, we had just talked with Tracy Haynes from Duncan for Donations. They've got an awesome event that's happening this Sunday, 5 o'clock at Scott High School. You could $5 to get in, bring a gently or new used toy. It's there in our way of giving back to the community. So many times we hear what these people aren't doing. When are they going to do this? Well, maybe we're that people. All right.
We're the ones we've been waiting for.
Right. Hey, listen, before we go any further, for those that are just joining us, can you introduce yourself? What do you got on?
My name is Julian Mack. Preferred gender pronouns, he, him. What brought me out today is what often brings me out. I believe we should be active participants in not only our own survival, but our own flourish. When looking at the ways that the sophisticated tools of white supremacy and imperialism, it's important that we show solidarity from a local level on up to combat those evil forces. And so that's what we do here. And that's why I am here, because I believe it's important to be part of a collective that puts boots on the ground to be able to create a better tomorrow.
All right. Well, what do you have on?
Yeah, I'm wearing a shirt from, I believe this is the Self-Care Collective. It has fear crossed out and says false evidence appearing real. And then underneath it, real small, it says don't believe the hype. You know, and on the side it says inside my mind. You know, and I really love this shirt. Because there was a poem I learned when I was joining my fraternity. He said, fear is a mind killer. It is a terrible little evil that is disintegrated inside of me. I must learn to face it and control it. All right. And so that's a message that I still carry with me today. It is not that we won't have fear, right? Fear is a natural human response that creates that helps us protect ourselves. But it is when we are dominated by fear, it is when we are controlled by fear, it is when we cower to the difficulties of our day, that fear becomes a bad thing. We cannot let fear run us, and so combating that, right, is something that's a daily thing, right, to combat the things that I may fear in my life, and use those things that scare me to stretch me, to grow me mentally, physically, internally, right, to help me become a better person today than I was yesterday, right? When I confront those difficult things, it causes growth.
We got a couple of things that we wanted to ask. We were talking about the movement for recovery, the movement for against drugs and addiction that's starting to have some traction in the community. I think last Friday, people were telling me they were passing a group of people on, I think it was on Monroe and Douglas, and they had signs, but the signs weren't saying down with America or anything like that. It was F heroin, all right, F fentanyl, up with hope, down with dope. What happened to create something like that in the community that I don't think any of us has seen that type of thing before?
Yeah. So in 2015, right, and many of us may not have noticed it, right, it was in the infancy, right? This is month 2 of CSRN, month 1, really, actually. This is when we were maybe 3 weeks old as an organization. On December 10th, a group of people, Matt Bell, who runs Team Recovery, and a couple other people had this idea that, and they were early in recovery, I think maybe 3 or 4 months clean, and they had this idea that they were panhandlers in active addiction. Why don't they hold a sign up, right, and encouragement for recovery, right, stating the bold message of F heroin at that point in time in 2015. Now, from that, there were some pictures that went viral and really catapulted a new solution to an old problem, right, with many of the Team Recovery crew. And so from that, we've seen Matt Bell become quite a leader in the locally in the recovery community and even nationally with Team Recovery. And there's a very interesting story. So one of the people that happened to see that was still in active addiction, and I'm sure he's okay with me telling his story. His name was Juan. And he said, I don't know what those people are or what those people are doing, but I want to be around them. I want to recover like that. Right. And about a month later, that guy ended up going to treatment, and he's been sober for 6 years now.
Well, that's great.
And he now runs the nonprofit part of a Team Recovery. Right, he's the president of the nonprofit part of Team Recovery, which has a post rehab housing community. Okay, now this post rehab housing community is what I'm a part of. Right, there is a lot of emphasis on getting people into treatment,
Right.
but there's not a lot of talk about what happens after that. Right. And so bringing a new solution to the same old problem. What we've done within this recovery community is try to develop a culture, try to develop a way of how we do things around here. And so we've developed like leadership positions within our own community. How do we want our voices to be heard? How do we address concerns? How do we nix out bad behavior, right, without necessarily calling the police, right? Things that we talk about all the time when it comes to building community. I was like, yo, I want in, you know what I mean? Because this gives a chance, gave me a chance to experiment with the idea of building community from scratch, right? We have this idea all the time of what we want to do and what we want our community to be like, but so often, right, we have to fight these oppressive forces that have already taken root in our communities, eliminate them, right, before we start to even build what we want a community to look like, right? And so this is a wonderful opportunity for me to be in leadership with people who I think I'm of a similar tribe who have faced death, right, and through active addiction, and are seeking a better life through our recovery. And so that subcommittee, that team recovery subcommittee, had the idea, well, it's been 6 years since that happened. There's a lot that's changed with the opioid epidemic since that happened, right? So why don't we take that similar spirit but update it? Why don't we put our own spin on it? And we call it F fentanyl, or the PG version for Fight Fentanyl Fridays, right? And so you know, I'm surprised I'm censoring myself here, but we just gonna call that growth. You know what I mean? But and so that's exactly what we're doing, right? And so for the we're taking that same energy that happened before, and we're reinvesting it, right? So we know that sometimes in recovery communities, right, the I don't want to call it the survival rate, but the rate of people staying sober can be disappointing, right, to say the least. You know, with people relapsing, I've been part of that. That is part of my story, right? So we're creating and we're participating in an experiment that's happening in real time. What happens when you have a community of people that are in recovery that get to actively participate in building our own community and actively participate in helping other people in our community voices be heard, right? And so early numbers show that it creates a recovery rate that's much, much higher, right? Because we're invested in our community. And I absolutely think we're in the very early stages, but we're building a blueprint that I think will be able to be duplicated in so many different ways and throughout the country, right? When we have people that are invested and are participating in their own community and are able to dictate the norms in the culture of that community, then we have a much more successful community. I believe that this is something that can even be applied beyond recovery. So, you know, that's basically the story of how it started, right? And so we're going to continue to do this for the next 3 Fridays, right? The goal was to do it for 4 weeks. Last week was the first Friday that we did it. We are doing it this Friday, which we expect to be a really big turnout. And then it's even going to happen on Christmas Eve, and then again on New Year's Eve, right? Because in active addiction, right, those were days that many of us used, right? It didn't matter if Santa Claus was coming to town or not. You know what I mean? Yo, I'm gonna stop and get me one first. You know, and so in a very proactive way, in a kind of a new thinking way, we're taking a message to the streets that, like, look, join us, be a part of this in whatever way, shape, and form that you want to. But we're taking to the streets and saying that we do recover. You know what I mean? F the disease of addiction, right? In whatever way it manifests in your family or in yourself, right? And that together everyone achieves more, right? And that we can beat this thing when we unify together, right? The opposite of addiction is connection, right? And so when we connect with each other, we can beat addiction, right? Which thrives in solitude. And so that's what we're doing after it. So that happens at roughly from 5 to 7 at the corner of Monroe and Douglas. And it's just a good time. You know what I mean? There are people whose political views I don't agree with. Let me just say that. There are people who I never thought I'd be standing with a sign with on the corner with, right? And but we're standing really for life. You know what I
Right.
mean? For another chance, for us to say that, the people that maybe you wanted to give up on have came back. We are the underdogs, and we're rising like phoenixes. And so it's a beautiful thing to really be in community. And after that, right, we have real talk, right? We have a recovery meeting. This isn't limited to any 12-step program. All due respect to those programs, right? There's some guidance that we take from those, but this is just a recovery meeting, whatever you're recovering from, right? There are people who have all kinds of addictions, right? Um, and there are people who need uh, people to hold space for
Right.
healing, right? Maybe you're not an addict, but you have a family member. Look, the numbers don't lie. If you ain't an addict, then you know somebody who is, and you got a family member or somebody that you love that probably is suffered from addiction, right?
Hey,
And so,
Julian.
and
Hey,
so that
Julian.
causes harm in one's life. That causes pain in one's life, right? And so we have conversations on how to deal with that, right? And we hold space for healing, right? We were doing our Friday night fires. We've spent time remodeling our garage, and so before our meeting, it's going to look and feel like a party. You know what I mean? Because we're all happy to be alive, right? So you may see some footage of me, getting it in a little
Okay.
bit, because I'm happy to be alive, right? And so um, um, I don't have shame off of that vulnerability that I'm showing, because I may not be able to hit that dance, or hit them folks or whatever they do
Right.
like I used to. It don't matter because I'm happy to be alive, and I'm celebrating the fact that I'm alive, and I'm celebrating that I'm with other people who have made it out and who are alive. And so you're gonna get that kind of vibe if you come up, and if you're there, and if you happen to be in the meeting, you're gonna feel an immense sense of gratitude of people that have made it out and people that are understanding of the struggle. And so, and so, yeah, man, I invite everybody to come out, Fife In on Fridays. The march, or excuse me, the sign holding, right? Because there's a little bit different context, right? I look at it almost like a protest, right?
Right.
Like we're calling to witness and making it visible to people that we are upset at the poison that continues to destroy lives and people and human beings in our community, right? But other people look at it like, look, we stood on the corner, you know what I mean, begging for change and to buy dope, and now we're standing on the corner, right, pushing hope. You know what I mean? So it's all in your perspective and how you look at it. But there's something that also that came out today that I would like to share. The numbers for Lucas County from the Opioid Coalition came out today. I know we don't have a graph, to put up, but surprisingly, right, the numbers in the third quarter have actually dropped significantly in Lucas County for unintentional overdose deaths.
That's
Um,
great.
we're looking at, so in the first quarter of 2021, it was 52. In the second quarter of 2021, it was 53. In the third quarter of 2021, we're looking at 21. Right now, obviously, these are 21 brothers, sisters, mothers, daughters, sons, right? There's 21 too many. But if you compare that to where we were last year at 54, we're making progress, right? Undeniable progress, right? And I have to say, I think that there's a correlation, in my opinion, with the number of Narcan kits that are getting out. You know, the most amount of Narcan kits that have ever been distributed in Lucas County were distributed in the second quarter. 2,000 Narcan kits were distributed in the second quarter of 2021. That's more than has ever happened in Lucas County, right?
That's great. Hey,
And
Julian.
I think there's
Hey,
proof of that
Julian.
with the numbers that have fallen. Yep.
Well, hey, listen. I wanted to just shout out some of the people that have been loving the message. Sabrina has been saying she's been loving the message, loving what's going on. Ron is talking about healing over heroin.
Yes.
So people are definitely vibing with the message by saying that yes, holidays are rough for folks in recovery. And you know, it is. Jody and I were talking about the struggles that people have, and even Joe talked about when he was using, he only used on days that ended with Y. Well, we must have been, Joe, we must have been separated at birth. All right. But also, Joe's been saying that he struggled, you know, with addictions and versions of addiction since the 80s. So this is a cross generation thing. It's not just about your family and my family. It is it's an epidemic. And if we don't step up and call it what it is, and then offer hope, then man, we could be guilty of being complacent when we had the opportunity to stand up, to have a F fentanyl Friday. I didn't know he was censoring me for saying that, but it is what it is. I don't mind. He's gonna do a poem later on with all types of F bombs in it. But but
Yeah,
But there's so much power, right? In just so you know, there's so much power in just you know, I don't know, man. I'm reaching, I don't know, I'm developing and growing, right, in my own self, right? And you know, I'm not wanting to show up anywhere not as my full self, you know,
beautiful.
and part of my full self is my struggles and my continual battle I'm winning today so far, right? With addiction, right? That's part of me. You know what I mean? And so knowing that and admitting that, you know, hopefully that shakes the stigma of somebody who's maybe sick and suffering, or somebody who, you know, a year ago, you know, I was a lot less, I was in recovery, but I was a lot less honest and open about my struggles with addiction. Um, and when that monster started to creep back in my mind, right, and start to try to it was this time last year where it started to justify, like, okay, maybe I can get away with one, maybe, you know, one night out ain't bad, you know what I mean? Isolation and the stigma kept me hiding, instead of admitting, you know, the admitting I needed help, admitting that, like, yo, I have a disease and it's starting to flare back up, you know. And so if I can, you know, own some of it, and if that helps somebody else that's like me, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. You know what I mean? The most embarrassing thing that happened to me already happened to me. and I'm back. And I'm
That's
back to
right.
say that, look, I ain't got nothing to fear. You know
Right.
what I mean? It's false evidence appearing real. Just get back up, dust yourself back off, and keep going. You know what I mean? It's a blessing just to be alive.
Hey, listen, we're going to take a short break. We're going to come back and tie up some loose ends. I really want to talk about some of the things that Jody's been going through, that he's been participating in.
Yeah.
That he's been participating in. And also, we had a visit by, was it Nan Watley?
Nan Whaley, the mayor of Dayton.
Nan Whaley,
The mayor of Dayton, who's running for to be the next governor of the state of Ohio.
All right, so let's take a short break. We'll be coming back. This is the CSRN Video Minutes, our weekly podcast. We'll be right back.
Now you can get the same uncompromising truth you've come to expect from the Final Call newspaper on all your connected devices. Subscribe to the Final Call Digital Edition today.
Hey, we are back. I don't know what that was. We're supposed to come back after that first clip. Somebody put another clip in.
Yeah,
Oh, man. Oh, man. All right. Good help is hard to find. Hey, Julian, what we're going to do right now, we're going to segue. We've got our brother Omar from Colorado. How you feeling, brother?
I'm real good. How's everybody doing?
All right, real good, real good. Hey, listen, we were just talking earlier. We had an organization here, Brother Omar, called Dunkin' for Donations, and they're striving. And this Sunday, they're having a basketball game, and they're bringing people together to bring toys for some of the less fortunate children and families during this time. And also they're collecting donations so that they can help our community thrive. They can help our community heal, because we've been having a lot of violence and it's affecting our children. So I wanted to know if you could introduce yourself, Brother Omar, and also if you could talk about the need for young people and parents and family to wake up to the violence that we're perpetrating on ourselves and others.
Okay, my brother. First and foremost, I want to thank everybody for putting together this beautiful platform and introducing me to the people. For those who haven't heard me before, my name is Omar Chin, born May 6, 1984. I'm a native of Florida, Delray Beach, Florida. Fortunately, for the past 13 years, I've been wrongfully convicted and held in Colorado's prison, as explained on my website, freeourbrothers.com, by Colorado's no indictment lockup scheme that locks up, the masses of the people. So your question is very powerful, and I've been thinking very deeply on that. First and foremost, I want to say that I was reading this book written by Dr. Joy. Can't pronounce her last name. I think it's DeGroy, DeGruy, called the Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome. And I remember at the beginning of her book, in the introduction, she was talking about how in 1994 she went to South Africa, and where she saw, there was a phrase they had over there, the brothers and sisters of South Africa, that they will use amongst themselves. They would say, we see you. Meaning that, they would look at each other and acknowledge each other like, I see you.
Right.
I see you. I see your humanity, And she said when she came back to Portland, Oregon, it was hard for her to readjust, because she came back to, basically an all-white state and a lot of the problems that we have amongst our community. And she said she was in the house and her son was outside, and her son was having problems, I guess, with some of the young boys in the community. And her little daughter comes running in and was like, Mom, somebody's outside trying to beat up, her brother. So the mom comes out and she's just like, what's going on? And the problem, the little boy said to the other little boy, which was the doctor's son, was, what are you looking at? Versus, I see you, what are you looking at?
Right.
The mother was explaining that maybe he's looking at you because he wants you to come play basketball with him. He got a new hoop. Maybe he
Yeah.
That's a deep thing, my brother. Because sometimes I even catch myself struggling conscious as I try to be when, brothers or, they have a tendency to stare and don't say anything. The first thing that comes to my mind sometimes, man, what are you looking at? And I have to catch myself.
Yeah.
So the violence that the enemy has taught us, like Mr. Farrakhan teaches, that we have to have knowledge of ourselves, which is the greatest knowledge. And by getting that knowledge of ourselves, we'll come out of the traps of the enemy.
Now, for the people, we've got a few people that have never been on this podcast before. Could you introduce yourself? Where are you? And why do you keep coming back for the fight when you could easily give up and pretend that nothing is wrong? So who are you? Where are you? And why do you keep showing up for the fight?
Thank you for that question, because you just said, I see you. And not, what are you looking at? So thank you for seeing me, brother. And for everybody for seeing a brother like me, I'm struggling for justice, not just for myself, but, for the communities that's impacted by unlawful incarceration. I'm currently incarcerated in the Sterling Correctional Facility. I've been here for 13 years. I don't give up. I don't bend, because somebody has to step up and tell the truth, about this unlawful incarceration machine. Explained by my website, freeourbrothers.com, and Instagram at freeourbrothers. And the prison system is another form of violence, of course. We know that the prison incarceration itself is violence that's perpetuated upon our people. Then within that system, you have, violence inflicted upon, violence, meaning, when we get so many brothers get caught up in here, we bring violence acts upon ourselves. So to me, I keep coming back because it's getting back at the root of the violence, as far as the white supremacist system that perpetuates itself off of, first and foremost, we not claiming our own legacy, not knowing ourselves, not knowing how great we are, who we are, where we stand, and how we have to address this violence. So that's why I keep coming back, because you keep calling back, and it's a beautiful thing. Thank you, my brother. And it allows me to address one form of the violence that perpetuates so many different forms of it.
All right. We also have Jody here. Say what's up, Jody.
Hey, hey.
All right. And also we have our spokesperson, Julian Mack. That's one of your number one fans. Julian was talking earlier about the fentanyl epidemic and the drug epidemic that's just decimating families and hope in our community. Now, and also Julian was talking about self-care. So for you, what do you do to keep yourself balanced, stable, and sane? Because some of us at this time of the year, we're struggling. People are struggling to hold it together, Brother Omar. So what is it that you do that keep yourself balanced during this time?
Foremost, brother, I give all praises due to the Creator. I just make sure every day that I'm in tune spiritually, that I'm, praying and reflecting, opening up the Bible and the Quran, and Protocol newspaper keeps me centered as well, making sure I stay physically active and being conscious of trying to be highly conscious of what's going on around me. Like, I just heard maybe like 10 minutes ago that there's a guy here that just lost his stepdaughter, his ex-wife, and his wife, all in the same night, to a tragic accident.
Wow.
So I'm like, man, my heart goes out to that brother. I can feel some of his grief. I can't relate to that. But when I heard it, I was just like, wow. I'm so blessed to still have, my fiance, and nobody's been, that's close to me, that's been my media circle has been taken from me. I've been fortunate, so how can I give up? How can I focus on myself when there's so much suffering? We all have our problems, but then again, I come out, they're like, man, sign this card. I'm like, well, I'm signing this card. They told me what I just told you. I'm like, man, so, I'm going to go speak to that brother and try to offer him them some words of encouragement, but there's always somebody else that has it worse. So I try to make sure, I slow down, center with the Creator, take care of myself as far as keeping a good diet, stay physically active, guarding my gates. That's what a lot of that violence comes from too, guarding my eye gates, my mind gates, meaning watch what you take in through your eyes, watch what you read, watch what you entertain. Because a lot of the violence comes from what's in the music, what's in the entertainment industry, what's we put inside our system as far as food and the various things that creates violent responses. And a lot of youth are not able to, or even though older people are not able to put a check on that because of what you feed on yourself.
Right.
So your spiritual, your physical diet.
Right. And we've got a couple more minutes left. I wanted you to know that while you're talking, we're also streaming the Free Our Brothers website, where we're looking at the campaign objectives and how people can get involved. We're also, I think, they're going to roll to your graduation photo. All right, with Brother Omar. I think this is from 2018. Man, good looking brother right there. All right. Hey, listen, when it comes to, we talked about self-care, and also sometimes we talk about gratitude. Who are you grateful for? What are some of the things that you're grateful for, even though you're in the midst of extreme trial? Is there some things that you're grateful for, brother?
I'm grateful for the Creator waking me up in my right mind and giving me the help and strength that I need to move forward each day. I'm grateful for this platform and everybody involved, even those who I may not be able to see personally or even know anything about. But I'm grateful for this opportunity to be able to reach to people because it's so hard to get the word out amongst these walls. And I'm just grateful for my mother, even though she's gone, she passed away years ago, but I'm grateful for her laying the example for me, putting that strength in me, that drive to keep going and be focused on the Creator and helping the community. I'm grateful for so many things. I'm just grateful for another day because so many people did not have the opportunity, unfortunately, this morning to move forward. So long as you have, breath, grab it, take hold, be grateful. Maybe slow down at times, but be grateful. Stay centered. Just keep fighting.
And listen, in closing, those are some wise words from our brother Omar Gent. For the people that are watching, how do they contact you on Instagram? Is there a website? How do they contact you on Twitter? What are some of those handles that they can go directly from this podcast to reading more about what you're doing?
Yeah, thank you for that question. The best way that people can contact me is on Instagram at Free Our Brothers, IG at Free Our Brothers. There's a video initiative on there called Army Citizens, and we're addressing that to Representative Leslie Garrett and other people tagged in the video. I also ask for people, will you please reach out, leave a voicemail for Leslie Garrett, 303-866-2959, 303-866-2959. Ask her to please answer the video because she's like the good sister needs to be encouraged to answer that call in the video that's been forwarded to her. So I would love to hear the people's comments and any questions you have. IG at Free Our Brothers, or you can email me at freeourbrothers1@gmail.com. freeourbrothers1@gmail.com.
All right. Listen, brother, I look forward to hearing from you. If not next week, maybe earlier in the week. And we're grateful for you. We're grateful for you for allowing us to be authentic in our fight against the institution or the institution of the prison industrial complex and the havoc that is wreaked on me and my family and others. So thank you, brother, for joining us so much. And if you have any last words, what would you like the people to know?
Well, I'd like the people to know that first and foremost, one of the ways to address violence, like I said, like the Minister Farrakhan teaches, knowledge of self.
Shields up, revolutionary greetings. Thank you, my
Revolutionary
brother.
greetings, brother.
Hey, that's our brother Omar Gent. We're so thankful to have him joining us weekly to give us the rundown regarding what's happening in the prison and industrial complex. And it's beautiful to have him here to not only talk to us about what's happening, but also for him to talk about how he maintains and how he survives when some of us that are out here that are struggling. So we thank him for that. And brother, we really look forward to hearing from you next week. Yes, sir. So, hey, listen, I'm getting that kind of eye from Jody that we're going to take a short break. Then we're going to come back with loose ends. Anything that we need to tie up that's political, that's social, whatever it is. And then we're going to wrap it up with 5 minutes of heat.
Yep, and I want to say thank you for your comments. You've been keeping my finger busy over here. I'm trying to respond to everybody.
That's awesome. And great job, everybody. So for everyone, just hang tight. This is the CSRN Video Minutes, our weekly podcast. We'll be right back. Hey, we are back. All right. Jody's just telling me, oh, my hat's, y'all checking out my haircut. All right. Hey, listen,
You'll never see me without.
All right. We're back. This is the CSRN Video Minutes, our weekly podcast. We're going to tie up some loose ends. One of the things that I heard somebody say, hey, listen, are we going to talk about Nan Whaley? She came into town. Big ups for Al Bannister for setting that up, and for all of the CSR members that attended that sit down, which is not the first and last. We're going to revisit this. And I wanted to ask, you were there, Julian, and I wanted you to talk about what did you gather out of that conversation. And I do want to say what we're talking about is our conversation, and don't confuse that with any type of endorsement. All right.
Right. Yeah. We do not, as an organization, endorse anybody.
Unless we running. All right.
Unless we running, that's a little different.
All right.
As an organization, we don't, because we want to have everybody involved. That's why we're one of the few organizations that can bring Republicans, Green Party, Democratic, Libertarian, all in the same room, because you're not paying us. We're there to give the people what they need for information.
All right. So
Saturday we had a wonderful opportunity to sit down with the mayor of Dayton, Nan Whaley, Democrat, that's running for to be the next governor of Ohio and the first woman governor of the state of Ohio. They often say, "So goes Ohio, so goes the nation." We have struggle. There's a constant push and pull in Ohio for the people's voice to be heard. Right? Ohio is known for its major cities, the 3 C's: Cleveland, Columbus, and Cincinnati. But there's a lot of space in between, and mid-major cities, your Youngstowns, your Daytons, your Toledos, where oftentimes when there's a Republican in power, they focus on the sea of red that exists in between the major cities and the mid-major cities that includes a big chunk of the Black population. I have to give credit to the mayor of Dayton, Nan Whaley, for being proactive and reaching out to leaders from the Black community, right? That may not agree with everything that she's done or said, but to be heard, the political process and democracy, it's imperative that communication happens, right? And oftentimes we see these token conversations with propped up leaders of the Black community for photo opportunities. I have to say, this was not the case on Saturday. We had an opportunity to have an honest conversation and dialogue back and forth about issues that really affect the disenfranchised in our community, that really affect Black folks in our community, such as education, right? And the disparities when it comes to funding. And how do we resolve those issues? How do we make it so teachers get the pay that they deserve? We had an honest conversation about addiction and the disparities that exist in regards to treatment, in regards to incarceration, in regards to harm reduction, and how are we going to equitably tackle and continue to be proactive as we tackle this epidemic that's destroying so many lives. And we also talked about how it's important to not just hear from certain monolithic members of the Black community, but to talk to regular folks that are dealing with regular problems that may not be just the token Black issues. And I have to say, if I'm editorializing on our conversation, Mayor Whaley, she was very knowledgeable, right, in how she has tackled issues of education, issues of addiction, and issues of a lack of diversity in her executive position in the city of Dayton, right? And she could list specific examples of her leadership style and how she's tried to create a more equitable, equal society for what did you call it? Daytoners? For all Daytonians. Excuse me. So yeah, I was really home. Of course, these people are working for the position to serve us, but there's a lot of folks that don't take that route of having difficult conversations with people that won't hold anything back. We're the type of people that don't hold anything back, regardless of your title, position, or where you're coming from. And we did not. And I think that took a certain type of courage. I think that took a certain type of humility. And I think that took a certain type of vision. And I, it's this election, the general election for governor, will happen in November of 2022. So we still have over a year to go. But I think that demonstrating by actions and deeds made a significant impression upon me to be able to reach out, right? Like, we didn't have to protest her campaign event. You know what I mean? She reached out to us, in order to have a dialogue. That made an impression on me, you know what I mean? And she was knowledgeable in regards to every topic that we discussed. So it was not just a chance for us to ask questions. It was also a chance for her to take some of that information with her. right, and see how she will implement that into her platform and into her campaign, right? So it wasn't just a one-way street. It was a back and forth, right? We had some things that we could take away from the experience
Right.
that she gave to us, and she had some things that she could take from the conversation off of the experience of the experiences that we've had as people living in Toledo, Ohio. So, I mean, I thought it was a really good conversation, and I thank Mayor Whaley for being proactive and having those type of honest, tough dialogues with real people that are engaged in making our community and our state as good as possible.
Right. And I felt the same way that you did. And I want to praise you. I want to praise Ruth, because most times when we get a chance to talk to chief executives, sometimes we lose some of our edge. The tone of our voice changes. The types of questions that we said we were going to ask, we don't ask them. And I want to praise both of you, because the only thing that I needed to ask her was, do you know that we're protesters? All right. You know, right?
Sure did.
Right. Do you know who we are?
Right.
All right.
Most people don't.
Right. Most people don't.
They see our calm, cool, collective.
However, her campaign manager has did his research and has gone and scoured our page. So they already knew that we were who we are. All right. And the level of professional excellence that we executed there without having some, I call it the slave disclaimer, because before we say anything, we start to say how unracist we are and how we love everybody. And then you say whatever you're going to say, which is really ineffective after you already state your disclaimer. So if you're doing that type of stuff, you don't have to do it. I absolved you from doing that. And lastly, when Al called you and me to set this up, there were no conditions.
No.
You know, I've been a part of stuff where they say, "Hey, Brother Washington, we want to invite you, but you don't say no Muslim stuff." I'm like, my name is Muslim stuff. What the hell? I mean, I shouldn't say hell if he couldn't say the F word. But I love. So respect to Al for not succumbing to that. And I do want to say that for those of us that organize politically, there's a new crop of Democrats being made now. All right. We can decide to support them, or we can support the Republican Democrats that we have. So we got an opportunity. There's no such thing as a wasted vote. All right. So vote for that person that's speaking to your interests. And I'm glad that she listened to us.
Yeah.
I'm glad that she listened, and I'm positive that she's going to take some gems. She's going to take some jewels, because that's what we want. You know, if the Republicans could dog whistle, then we could God whistle. Yep. All right. We can do the same thing, but only we don't have to use deceit and trickery. All right. We're trying to create a new group of Democrats, all right, that are going to take our message, implement them into bills that are going to be implemented into policies that are going to be sustainable in our community, or institutionalized in our community. Just like we can expect not to get good care, we can also now, after this change takes place, we can expect good care. So that's my take on it. Hey, listen, it is 7:36. Do you mind if we need to shift real quick to see what's going on with Jody, I'm going to even forego some of the stuff like the Kwanzaa event. I'm going to forego that by saying it. All right. Y'all find out about it later. All right. Jody, what's going on with you? I thought that we saw you at one of the Donetta Carter events. What was that event about? And what did you have to do with that event?
So that was Donetta Carter's. That was what, the 10th annual Christmas bazaar. And funny thing, the day of that bazaar, 5 years and 1 day was my first vendor show. I just
Okay.
had one book. It was one.
Okay.
So it was really, and then since then, because my first couple of years, I did a couple of her vendor things just to get my feet wet, to figure out what it was like, whether I even wanted to be like public as an author, as an illustrator, as all this stuff. And again, for most people that don't know, because they see me so much out in public, I'm introverted. But when I wrote my book, when I started performing on stage, I had to learn to not necessarily slip into an identity, but be comfortable with shaking people's hands, hugging people, talking to people about the clouds. And I'm just not a talkative person.
Have we ever hugged? I don't think we've hugged. All right, but okay, all right.
I love Jody every chance I get.
One where you put the arm around and then you just beat the person on the back.
I wasn't talking about the other one. All right,
but
we got to charge for that. But okay, well, go ahead. I'm sorry.
But for me, it's interesting because I realize I don't see myself online. I can post it, whether it be a poem or a slideshow movie or something like that, but I don't necessarily see the impact that there's literally millions of people. I get updates from Google about my photos. The last one, I have 510,000 people watching and views and stuff like that. But for me, I'm just this simple guy, which is also simple man. Going back to that, if you read that poem from my beginning, that is me. All my poetry, my books, my artwork, the community service, that is my reflection onto the world. It's not necessarily how I want you to see me. It is me.
That's awesome.
So it's me without a mask. And that was fun. There's a lot of vendors there. Again, that's 10 years for her.
Wow.
So it's a decade. It's like doing something consistently, whether people believe you, whether you got 50 million pop-ups the year before. It's just like, who is you? Then you've been doing it forever, but she's still going on.
That's
so
awesome.
I applaud her for continuing to do the Christmas bazaars, the fall annual one, because I think she does like 2 or 3 a year.
Mm-hmm.
And I was there with a friend of mine too. The last one I was at in October, it was with my friend Angel. Shout out to you, one of my pandemic buddies that got me through. And this time I was across, and now again from 5 years ago, I had one book. And this time I'm there with the whole art wall, several series of books, crystals, wristbands, stickers. I think that's the progress you don't see in the process. And I like that I have taken hundreds of thousands of photos to record that, because it's something that if I erased it, if I got mad at somebody and I just hit the delete button, I wouldn't have that history to look back on. Like my books. The first press of my book, I let people sign that. So whenever I'm feeling low, whenever I'm feeling mentally unstable or emotionally unstable, I can open my actual books and see the thousands of people I've met by their signatures. So that means a lot to me. Other than that, unpacking stuff, I've learned definitely in the past few months that it's okay to go away. It's okay to take a break. There was at one point I was on social media for 647 days straight. Between all my apps and stuff, like that's my morning, noon, and night. And it's okay to let people miss you, because then you'll figure out who actually misses you. Other loose ends, I guess, before we get into 5 minutes of heat, because we are about to change this move very quickly.
All right.
Is And I think Brother Washington again, he gave me something else to think about. Therapy, the one I don't need you to be my therapist. I just want you to be my friend. And Burning Embers, which is an actual album or like single that I have. That's
I do that. I
Yeah.
do that. Yeah, yeah.
actual recording artist. Something I never thought I would be able to say, but I'm going to work on something just like I was working on breaking down these toxic traits and stuff. Is forgiving yourself.
Ooh.
Something I don't do enough. Like forgiving yourself for being too open with people, for being too honest with people, too genuine with people. So I thank Brother Washington again for giving me the inspiration to get ready to jot something before the end of the year. Because myself, I take myself for granted a lot until I can't show up. And I'm like, but I need to. And my body's like, no, or my mind's like, no, or my heart's like, no. And then I'm just upset because I needed a break. So I'm going to work on more of that. You're going to see me a lot less online unless I have something to do. I don't need to be involving myself in everybody's life, whether or not I can help or want to help, because it's not, it's taken more from me, especially with running all of this stuff, that if I'm down, that means this doesn't get done.
That's
or
right.
this organization or this food bank thing doesn't
Right.
get done. And I need to, forgive myself for being that type of person.
All right.
Yep.
Growth.
Yeah, for us.
And again, this is a little different. This is, and again, if you're out there too, holidays are hard. Don't be down on yourself. We just passed 69 murders. It's something that's not going to stop until people just have a conversation, listen, talk to each other, and find solutions instead of pointing fingers at everybody who should be doing something. So hug yourself, hug your family, your friends, the person that you see all the time that's kind of friendly, or let them know you care. They may not be there tomorrow.
All right.
Yeah.
So, two, why I am spoken truth. This book, shout out to Joni McKintry and the Arts Commission and all of the wonderful artists. It's called Black Lives. Let's see if I can show that on here. But during 2020 was a lot. Uh, we were asked, me and several other artists, run down the name real quick. Sandra Gill, Tanasio Loudmiller. Did I say that right, Judy?
No.
Loudermill.
No.
Loudermill, Automatic, Natalie Gray, Hunter Prey, Melvin Douglas Johnson, and Travell Ellison. Thank y'all for being part of this book.
That's
And
awesome.
we're getting back to going into reading it again. On our last show, I think we got 2 left.
Yep.
Before the end of the year, I'm going to try and have that forgiveness piece ready. But for those people, cover your ears. This piece is called Criminal Needs. It's one of mine that's in the book that I've been reading everybody else's. And again, you got to give yourself some credit. I'm very bad at giving my own self credit until I'm surrounded by a sea of people like, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, what do you mean? We saw that post. So anyway.
All right. Well. All right.
Criminal Needs. Let's begin. Peace. And the streets filled with blood, not drained by the sewer system that was under construction. We rather pave over the tombstones of our memories, guilt, and past failures than face the crumbling foundation on which we were built. Why fix what we know is wrong if we can criminalize what we know is right? As we ejaculate to the live videos, perpetuating the endless state of bliss, going viral when your neighbor takes that last bloody opioid hit, coughing up the last bloody bullet from the end of an officer's clip, making memories of future generations who will fill up gravesite after gravesite, condemned to be world star top hit lists. Families torn apart by legislation, blind to the needs of the people, but woke to the demands of the blood-drenched dollar, who only blink when their bottom line won't fill up a present quota. But you won't fight back. You rather attack the members of your own community who starve waiting for some semblance of justice, because we protect and serve those that invest in us, cast checks for bullets we spare in the streets, serving the needs of the thin blue line pensions of the largest ganged armed force that serve just us. So hit record and make sure your video is clear, because without it, we won't know which officer was in danger, armed to the teeth with the purification of America and a new shiny nickname. Don't just wake up. Act now before there is no tomorrow. In peace.
All right, Jody. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you. And thank you, everybody that worked in collaborating to put together that beautiful piece of literature there.
And also, if you want to get it, contact Joni McKintrey. She's on Facebook. You can order that. Proceeds go back to making sure we can do our forms and stuff like that. And I thank her for doing that. I believe the book is $20, so I'll tag her in that.
All right, beautiful. All right, all right. Hey, listen, as always, right after we finish our 5 minutes of heat, we're going to end with the Solidarity Pledge. Now, we don't have Ruth here with us today, so we can do it however we want. Who's doing the pledge? Do you have it with you, Julian?
I do not.
All right. So obviously, all right, old school. Going to go ahead and do the Solidarity Pledge. Let's put that up on the screen. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say I, and you say your name. And if those who are watching, you can say it with us. If you stream this later, you can say it with us too. Say I.
I.
Your name.
Jody.
Julian.
Pledge to strive.
Pledge to strive.
To love my brothers and my sisters.
To love my
brothers and my sisters.
As I love myself.
As I
love myself.
I. Your name.
Julian Mack.
Pledge to strive.
Pledge to strive.
To study. To improve myself.
To improve myself.
Spiritually. Mentally. Morally. And physically. For the benefit of myself.
For the benefit of myself.
My family. And my people. I. Your name.
Golden Rule Mac.
Pledge to strive. To be a part of the solution.
To be a
part of the solution.
The process.
And
not the problem.
not the problem.
I. Your name.
Mac and cheese.
Pledge to strive.
To
give all that I could spare.
To give
all that I can spare.
Of my time. My strength. And energy. To achieve. The above said. Plug men, give yourselves a hand. Great job. We got through another one in the can. And those who are listening, thank you for being here. Thank you for making this podcast, these video minutes, what they are in. It be it the will of the universe, we will transition back into in-person meetings along with having this podcast. So stay tuned to CSRN. Follow our page. We're going to come up with something, a date and a place. Having it at Wakanda once a month, that was sweet.
Yeah.
That was nice. I really felt that was a great idea to look into that. And I think it was a great idea to start, use that blue room. We may be able to have at least 10 people or so safely there. All right. And if we have to expand, we can do that. And as always, all lives can't matter until Black lives matter. And Black lives can't matter until all
Black Lives Matter.
Justice for all. What else?
Yeah.
Peace.
Peace.
Peace.